A really important issue. You're absolutely right. And even this morning, I just popped into Aldridge and a number of people were talking to me about it. And the reason I really picked this up is that the story here is about Sean, who's lost his job for doing the right thing. It doesn't feel fair. But in my community of Aldridge, people are really, really angry. But it goes to something much deeper than this. I think it is that sense of injustice that someone loses his job for doing the right thing, and yet the criminal, okay, in the end gets sentenced. But it feels like this is just, it's not fair. And if you take this story alone, even the head of the Met Police is saying that that this was wrong and Sean shouldn't have been sacked. So, I mean, I know my community really well, but the strength of feeling is really, really strong.
Now, Wendy, of course, people's sympathies will absolutely be with Sean. But do you have any sympathy for Morrisons or indeed supermarkets in general? Because they are now under such legal pressure to ensure that staff come to no harm whilst on duty that some of them have felt compelled to issue guidance to their staff not to tackle shoplifters in order that they don't face legal claims if people get injured.
I mean, I think this is a problem that we now face in the country. You know, the balance just does not seem to be right. So I speak to a number of shopkeepers. Shoplifting has actually gone up 8% since the general election. Oh. There is a problem out there, but I think there's something wrong if employers feel they can't side with their employees as well. In the case of Sean, he was actually spat at by the thief. So, you know, this is about balance, but the balance is not right. So, you know, if the employers think that you know there needs to be the balance isn't right, then we need to hear from them as well. But the bottom line here is it cannot be right that the employee, in this case Sean, ends up being fired for tackling a thief. And at the end of the day, when it's us, the taxpayers, it's my constituents who are paying the price for this, because the price of goods is going up and up and up.
And that's probably driving the shoplifting. And we've got Mark Rowley, the Metropolitan Police Commissioner, hailing Sean Egan, and he would encourage other citizens to help fight against crime. Would you stop shoplifting, Wendy Morton, if you saw it taking place? Would you step in?
You know, a few weeks ago, I wasn't in Aldridge, I was in London, and I saw some people running out of the supermarket armed with stuff, and it was obvious they were shoplifting. I was so tempted to put my foot out and trip them up. I'm being really honest here, Chris, but in the end I dared, because I didn't know what they would do. So I think Sean was really, really brave, and that is why people locally are saying he's a hero. And I've been staggered by the comments I've had on social media.
Now, Wendy, we understand tomorrow the local community is going to come out in a show of support for Sean. What can you tell us about this peaceful protest?
It's very unusual for my constituents to do this sort of thing. We've done it recently in terms of our views on protesting a bit against development on the Greenbelt. But for the community to come together in Aldridge, it will be peaceful. That's the community that we are. It says a huge amount. It's because they not just like Sean, they respect him. He's been a real part of our community for nigh on 29 years. And that Morrisons in Aldridge does a lot of good for the community. That's the thing here. It's a really sad day. It's a really sad state that we've gotten into, that Sean has lost his job. We're going to have a protest tomorrow against this. He's like, come on, Morrisons, please take some action and reinstate this man.
And he wants his job back. Well, we'll talk to him later in the show. But Sean is going to run from the supermarket, he says, to the protest to raise money for Acorns Children's Hospice. So now he's turning to a charity fundraiser, turning this misery for him into some positivity.
And doesn't that absolutely show the sort of person that he is? Acorns is a children's hospice that is local to us here in Aldridge, and the community holds dear.
Quite extraordinary. Well, later in the show, we'll be joined by the man himself, Sean Egan. Don't miss it. But Wendy Morton, thank you for joining us today on GB News. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you,
Wendy. I think what is just so difficult about this case is the hero is being punished.
I know.
And that just offends everybody's